All right, thank you. Good morning once more. Is it still morning? Oh, yes, it's still morning. So I'm greeting actually the people who are on the digital platform. I've already greeted everybody in here. Welcome to Voninga, Shine Your Light. Today we're having a very important conversation with people who are interested in GBV as first responders and also survivors of GBV, and the most important people, moreover, our public protector who is here with us. We appreciate you so much. You know, I have fallen in love with the institution even the more because of what you just did now. We sent our request to many institutions, the Chapter 9 in particular, to come and be part of the GBV collaborations in terms of talking, in terms of raising awareness, and you were the first to respond. Like literally, public protector responded the following day. You send them today, tomorrow they respond. And it's one thing I've always known about your institution. I mean, ample response, you don't joke with people's lives. So we just want to say we appreciate you, and we just want to say it, I mean, very loud. So thank you so much for being with us today. We also have Apostle Lofty, who's an attorney and an apostle. I mean, she's versatile. She has all these things together with us in the studio. Is it the studio today? Yeah, in the studio we have Benevolence Mphuti, we have Masu Mathye, and I have the most important person who's with me here now, Mr. Morapedi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
How are you doing?
No, by God's grace, I'm okay.
You're good, ne?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to share something with the people, how I met you. So guys, I met Morapedi with a friend of mine. Let me call that a friend for today. I was with a friend of mine, and then when we were in the car, Morapedi introduced himself, and he says, "Hi, I'm Morapedi, and I'm a single father." Something unheard of, unless if maybe you guys hear it all the time. But that's how Morapedi started it. That's how you started with me. You just said, "Hi, my name is Morapedi, I'm a single father." And you went on to talk about, "Yeah, I'm going to fetch my kids, but you were excited about who you were. You were excited about, I don't know whether to call it the role that you play. And for me, you excited me from that day. So thank you so much, single father.
No, I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
Yeah. So I invited you here because I believe there's a lot we can learn from you as a community, as a country, as people. Because we already have this many stigma about what a father should look like, what a man should look like, what they should do, how they should identify themselves. Like I'm saying, it's very hard to come across a man who proudly stands and say, I'm a single father. It sort of like tells you a story, Hori. There's something wrong there. Either stigmatization or either something that is not done a lot by people. So as we're talking about identity today, our theme being reframing our identity and also reclaiming our rights, I want us to start there with issues of identity. That you have shown me that you don't identify with people, you don't go with the norm. And you are proud of how you choose to identify yourself. So I don't know if you could tell me a little bit about that. What is that all about?
Okay, my sister and the audience, let me greet even the viewers. My name is Morapedi Mocumi. I was born and bred in the Northwest Province, in Mahikeng. It has just become popular lately because of some individuals, if you are following the news. I moved to Palabora about 12 years ago due to work obligations. And that's where I'm based currently with my kids, of course, that I'm proud of. Kurula, yeah, I think our identity, it's very important as individuals. It's something that we should always strive to attain. Because without an identity, surely it's like, not having a foundation. You will be easily dragged, from side to side. So, and when you know your identity, you know what to work towards as a person. You are able to know where I'm lacking, what fulfills me, what does not fulfill me, what should I do to be fulfilled, what should I not, if you know your identity. So it's very important.
So what you're saying is that identity offers you to have a choice in life.
Exactly.
So does it mean that people who don't have an identity, choices are made for them? Is that how you see it, or?
Yes, I will partially agree with you.
Okay.
And I think if cause one of your themes is gender-based violence, if you look at that whole saga of GBV, people tend to lose their identity, or the identity get to be taken away from them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I think that's the first line of abuse to me.
To take away your identity.
Identity, yes.
When it's taken away, I think I shared it with you the other time when we spoke, that I'm one of those people who feel I partially had an identity. And when I say partially, I'm sure now today experts will help me to understand myself. In that, growing up, I feel like I always knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
I was that loud girl. I liked gather. Like what we're doing today is more like me growing up. Always having people around me who would sing. Like we were creating programs in our own little space at home, you know. I had that. But at the same time, being a church girl, ne, I feel like I had now trying to identify with Christ, but Christ from somebody else's perspective. And when I went through GBV, whereby I think I've shared with you, maybe to share with the other audience, yeah. In my case, getting married and then I am infertile. I'm not getting pregnant, you know. And then unfortunately, you have somebody who just use that against you because they have their own agenda. So they were financially straining, you know, and I was always budging. But at some point, I got very tired, you know. Yes, you're working, you're doing extra hustles. That was me, always doing extra hustles apart from the main job. But then I'm tired at some point. And when I would start to say, no, man, it's not right. In fact, I had to ask another pastor that, what is happening with me? Because I didn't even know how to identify what that was. So I remember I always write down, whenever I don't give him money, he gets angry. So I just wrote it in a tablet. And afterwards, I read it for somebody. These are the things that happens to me on a daily basis. And then they said to me, Kurula, you are trying to buy love. Those were the words they said, you know. So from there, they said, don't do anything and see how will this person respond. And then from there, he starts to strangle me and getting all angry and stuff. But one of the things that he would continuously say to me was that, that's why God is punishing you. It's like, you are saying, hey, I can't give you money anymore. They're like, yeah, that's why God is punishing you. So, but from that daily saying those words, it made me to feel like God doesn't love me indeed. And it didn't come off at once. Sometimes we are doing something and it doesn't work, and then you're like, yeah, God hates me. And then you are also attaching it to what you don't have. Like, oh yeah, plus I don't have a child. That's why I'm praying and it doesn't happen. So you realize that if I knew who God was and I was identifying myself in him, that he's love and he loves me, I wouldn't have had a trouble. But because I think that my take was always God loves me based on somebody else saying it, you know. Yeah, so it's like I'm saying that that's more for me, having identity nyana. So you have it, Mara, is rooted in what somebody else is saying and not what you inherently inside of you, come rain or sunshine, believe. So yeah, maybe you could assess maybe me. Was I partial? Was I fully? Did I give my identity away? What happened? How do you?
No, each and every one of us, when he or she's born, you are born with that seed of identity which needs to be nurtured as you grow. Unfortunately, external factors that can be societal, patriarchal, political, and other aspects, they tend to augment that identity that we have. I normally tell people that, there's one critical thing that I hope this country we can wake up to. I know others will feel a bit insensitive and say, no, let's move on. Yes, we need to move on, but we need to do what I would normally call critical analysis in order to get a correct diagnosis. As a country, our past. We come from a system which, for example, developed things like Group Areas Act. Group Areas Act ensured that the family unit in our society gets destroyed. And that is the basic unit of any society. So if some ills in our society, if we are to deal with them, we need to look at the structures that we have. Are they supportive towards that, So if, for example, if we have family-orientated society, we are going to raise less bitter people from such families. And that on its own, it's molding your identity. Because there is stability and the offsprings there are given a chance to can properly, understand who they are, the identity.
So
Yes.
you're talking about the root of family structure. And when you say family structure, you mean a mother, a father, and yeah, that's that's the original one.
Yes,
But
yes.
okay, looking into you, that was taken away from you
Yes.
due to circumstances that occurred in your life.
Yes.
So then, how do you now reclaim to have something similar? Or what do we do in order for identity not to be lost or the children to still live in harmony, as you say?
It's quite a difficult one. Like you mentioned that I'm a single parent. Yes. There's a purpose why there should be a father and a mother.
Okay.
But when things have happened the way they have happened, which are beyond your control as a person, you need to get into a space of first admitting that has happened, and I cannot define myself forever within this particular setup. That's where now you start to seek your identity, which could have been dented by this, the quagmire. So it's not a simple one. The fact of the matter is both parents are needed. So we should try our level best to help our peers, our kids to know their identity and understand it, support them. It's not an easy task, I'm telling you, but it requires determination.
So I want to find out from you, like you're saying, sometimes there are some things you cannot do in order for you to have the kind of structure that you would have wanted, believing that that was your situation, like you say. But then when you want to fight for those rights to say, I want to maintain having my children with me in my home, despite the fact that the mother isn't around anymore. Because I guess it's not an issue of maybe you are a widower, but it's an issue of separation. When you want to say, I want to stand in this route of saying, I want to still maintain my children living with me and me being a father to them, how does the community respond? How does the family respond? And how do we stand up to fight for those rights to say, this is what I want because I identify with the family structure and I refuse to stay alone because that's what you wanted. And you could have had an option not to have that. Then the fighting for that.
Kurula, what motivated me the most, I think, is partially my past as well.
Okay.
I grew up, or I was raised by a single mother.
Okay.
My father was not such part of my life. I know him. But I would envy that I could be having a father as well, having boys talk, and stuff like that. But like I said, it was beyond my control once more, so I had to make peace with it. But I promised myself that my kids, they are going to be part of my life, dark or blue.
You wanted them to be part of
I want to form part of my kids' upbringing because if you are not there as a father, somebody will take your space. It could be the society, it could be social media, it could be... So, because from the Christian context, we are given responsibility to raise these kids. It is you who partially determines who they become at the end of the day.
Okay.
So I told myself that no, this is my task and I'm not going to abdicate from it.
Okay. So when you were in an environment that allows you to be able to claim that right and not say, are you not causing a stumbling block for the women who come into your life, seeing you being with children or talking about the norm? I can usually they'll talk about the norm that a woman is the one who's supposed to have her children with. Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, being a stumbling block to the incoming one, it was the last thing on my head,
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a priority for me even today. My priority is to be part of this kid's life. I was just telling the other guy, I said, as fathers, we sometimes get into a space that, no, a woman should be like this for marriage purposes and stuff like that. This is how I must behave. I said, you see, I want my daughter to get a marriage perspective also from me. Also say, my girl, this is what you are getting yourself into. This is are the expectations, the responsibility, possible challenges. How can you avoid this stuff and so forth and so on. So yeah, and the aspect of having them, it's now the legal matter. I think Mama will come in there. It's a legal battle, that one. And I believe that also fathers should be supported. They should be made aware. You know, the law is not rigid like it was before, that automatically. You know, today we get into court, we sit down, we look at facts, we look at, they say the best interest of the child. So, yeah.
So, but what would you say? I want you to talk to somebody who's maybe having that challenge, that they are single right now, they are male. Perhaps maybe they may not be in your same situation, but they're more stigmatized in trying to get the children, to live with the children. What would you say to them about them deciding to define their own identity, to say, I'm not going with the norm of what our society usually paints it like, but I'm creating my own picture for my own life and for my own kids? Like, what do you want to say to them?
Firstly, if I will just put it in this fashion, if you strongly feel that as a father you want to form part of your kids' upbringing, you have a right to do that. If you are thinking of stigmas, then I doubt you are serious, because if really you want to form part, you will forget about the stigmas.
Wow.
You will be driven by the love, the passion that you have towards your kids.
Wow.
You will not care who says what, where, you know? So, like I said earlier on, that to have custody, it's quite a treacherous road, but it's a legal part. So there you need legal advices. Fortunately, there are legal professionals outside there who are very committed and dedicated and passionate to help people like me and others who might face such. I was helped by another lady of an attorney. She did not just represent advice, she also taught me law.
Oh, so you were learning in the process.
Exactly.
Yeah. Battles always make us to learn.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm saying to the guys there, you can, especially, you know, there is this tendency of people, they want custody of their kids, but for monetary purposes, not for really playing the role that they're supposed to play.
Oh, like they want somebody to pay the other maintenance part
Stuff
and
like that,
okay,
you know.
yeah.
So to me, those things, they are secondary. The primary thing is the emotional well-being of these kids. It's how they grow up, you know, knowing their identity as well, like you emphasized. Yes.
Wow. No, thank you so much. We do have men who still care about their children's well-being and how they get to be raised. It's beautiful to watch that. And I do hope that this information will reach somebody. We're still going to ask you questions further, but now I want to take Masu, asking her about her story, and then we'll talk further as the attorney is here, and she will also be, liaising here and there. So if you have questions for him, just jot them down. We won't ask now. We'll continue a bit, and then we'll take it on. So Masu, you can come through. Morapedi, you can sit there and we'll continue further. So it's very beautiful to see what is happening. We are talking about issues of identity, and we are saying that you can live a life where you decide to paint your own picture for your own life and not be guided by the norms of society, which tells you, Kore, no, a woman is the one who stays with the children. I've heard that so many times. Somebody would say, hey, I can't take the kids. I'm like, why? And they're like, no, it's the woman who stays with the child. I'm like, which law? I've not heard of that law in South Africa. So nonetheless, thank you so much. So now we have Masu Mathye. Masu, we're talking straight on GBV, you and I.
Okay.
You have a story that you've shared with me, but it's very important to share with the others. The reason why we prefer to have stories, so that somebody can be able to identify themselves in you and be able to see how they can navigate, or sometimes seeing yourself in somebody makes you to start having clarity on what you can do, because maybe you are bled by so many things happening in your life. So Masu, you're welcome.
Thank you for hosting me.
Now you are a
Thank you.
GBV survivor.
Yes.
And that's how you even identify yourself on social media. You advocate for that.
Yes.
So can you share with us a little bit of your story of how that came about? What happened? What did you survive? And then we can carry on. Yeah.
Okay. I was not really aware then, but as time went in my first marriage, then that's when I realized that no, something is not okay, because I was beaten. I remember I was not beaten up on the upper part, so you couldn't really tell that this person is abused. I was beaten on the body, so you couldn't really see because I was wearing things that are closing up.
Okay.
So I was actually even abused emotionally, so,
Okay.
but I was not aware, because remember, when I got married, I was told certain things you cannot discuss. You don't discuss your marriage with people. Like,
So you were
must
beaten
just-
up,
Yes.
but even when you were beaten up, you still didn't see that as abuse.
As if it's wrong, no.
Take us through that. What is going on in your mind after the beating? What do you see it as, or how do you identify that action?
Okay, already the mindset, I was trained that when you get married, you are a woman, you are a housewife, you don't share your things with people. I remember I had to cut some of my friends. I was not communicating with people. So I thought whatever is happening is supposed to be a secret. I must protect the next person. So I don't talk about it.
Wow. So it's the training that we get.
Yeah.
I think when we are during the wedding, there's always that woman who
bridal
stands up,
showers,
and bridal shower. So telling you, hypnotizing you into accepting anything that goes.
Because they've been through it and they survived then.
Okay.
So now, having to live a life through Mama Mfundisi by then, how they were doing their things, you be taught that you don't talk about it. You must just kneel down and pray about it. But you don't talk bad about your husband. You don't tell people what he's doing.
Okay. So you kneel down and pray.
I've been praying. Believe me, I've been praying. I know all the scriptures by heart, but it didn't work out.
Hallelujah. Okay, so now when the emotional part comes, you say that it was first physical and then it was also emotional.
yeah.
Can you explain the emotion just to identify what does it look like, what happens?
You stay with someone and they be telling you that you won't tell anyone, firstly.
Okay, please be a bit louder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever you fight or whenever there's something that you raise up, they tell you that even if you tell your family, they won't believe. Because there was a difference between me and my partner. I was the talkative one and he was a bit shy and calm. So whenever he would talk, they wouldn't believe what you saying over him.
Oh, because you are already identified as somebody who talks a lot.
Yes. Compared to him. So whatever he says is right and whatever you say,
It's wrong.
Yeah.
But is it something that happened, like practically you once saw it happen and go, "Yo, nobody believes me," or it was just your assumption, or what he painted, the picture he painted to you to say, Gore, if you tell them, they won't believe you, or how did it go about?
In the period of dating is on its own. Whenever we'd meet people, they would really compare us and say, "Yo, way, you are quiet. This one is talkative." So I was already on the journey knowing that, oh, I'm the active one and this one is declared being inactive. So whenever I would say, even if sometimes we sit as a family at a gathering, people would say, Masu talks and the guy is quiet. Yo, he's a sweet someone.
Okay, so because of that, you keep quiet, you don't tell anybody. But there came a day that you decided to do something about it.
Is, for instance, I think I was talking about this morning, I have about
Please,
5, protection orders against him.
5 protection orders.
Yes. So in the process of having to do them, having to explain what is happening, no one was believing until maybe you show them proof of, look at what happened. And again, when he doesn't pitch up for that, because remember, you are called to court, nothing was happening to him. So it proved a point enough that, no, Masuwana, you are the wrong one.
Oh, so you do a protection order, and then when you are asked to come to court
With him.
then he wouldn't show up. And when he doesn't show up, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Did you try to check with the justice system what could be the reason, or was it the attitude of the police officials, the
attitude on its
magistrate, the
own.
what? What was it?
Everything. I even would regret, why did I even go report? Because like they laugh at you, they say things they know beyond, and you won't even do anything about it. So the officers ended up being an enemy to me, because why do you go report? Because they won't do anything about it. Instead, fellow women would even laugh at you. So you understand, it's yeah.
So, but okay, fine. So the police doesn't help you. no intervention is made, the magistrate doesn't help you. But I want to find out that when it comes to that, you find that maybe a person was already beating you up and you were not reporting. Ne? And then there comes a time they can see that you're trying to get your strength back. Now you have the power to go and report. Do they become more aggressive, or do they slow down because of seeing that you're trying to reclaim your power?
I don't think they even see that. The way I took it, because I remember at some point I wrote as a note, or I think I have 20 pages. I wrote about what happened through at the magistrate. So I just feel like they didn't care. Hence, going to forward the stories to them was just a waste. They would listen to you, but not even take it further.
Oh, you were complaining to the very same magistrate which is not responding to you. I think that's the problem that we're having in our society, that you're not getting services and you go and complain to the very same people. It's the same thing that's happening in hospital. You find there's a complaints box and you're going to write about somebody who's working there to complain there. Often they don't do anything about it because it's somebody's friend who's already there.
Yeah.
So I understand, but then I want to know, did it ever reframe how you saw yourself, your identity? Like the whole incident of you being abused, of you being beaten up, did it make you become somebody that you couldn't identify with?
Yeah, at some point I remember I thought I was very useless. I hated being around people. I was always isolating myself. I don't know what happened. There was a certain day I remember a certain song was playing and I sang out. I was screaming like my lungs out, and that day, from that day, I felt relieved. Because I felt the pain that I had within me is now out, then I would be able to go out and face people. But it was difficult, very difficult, because I just felt like, my marriage was all that I had. And now that this person is abusing me, and whenever I go report, no one listens. So I was just shattered.
Yeah, there's something that you're saying here. You're saying, Kore, your marriage was all that you had.
Yes.
So it speaks to what Morapedi was saying, that sometimes we create a world whereby, for me, normalcy and the best way I want to identify myself is me with a partner
Yeah.
and my children. We must be in one household. So whenever somebody starts to drag their feet and beat you up, sometimes you hold on because you're trying to hold on to your identity.
Yeah.
And your identity is that me kurula, and I'm that girl who's supposed to be with a partner. But the moments Morapedi puts it very well, sometimes your identity is sort of like taken away because it is somehow linked to somebody. And you can't control a human being. I mean, a human being is given the will. Even if you check in the Bible, God gives you people free will. So as much as you think to you, because it's not everybody who feels the same way, Kore, marriage and a partner must be the norm. Some people don't think so. But to you, that is what you were holding on to. And it being your identity, you couldn't release, even when you could see that it's hurting you and it's taking away your peace. So it means that you went through trauma at that time.
Yeah, and just to add up a bit, as for him, when he was saying, who's Rapid, for me, I don't even care about the kids. It was just me and their husband. So I even forgot to love myself because it was about me and him. So now when it was not even working out, it just got worse, that I was even suicidal at some point. And because it was that one thing, I even forgot about my studies, that I can study and do all this because I was stuck with that person. So it just drove everything away from me.
Because your identity is
It's
you
him.
and your husband.
It's him. Like, I don't know how. I don't know.
So even the kids, for you, it was
It was
different.
not
They
about
did
them.
not
It was
matter.
about that thing that I'm married. I've got this husband.
But I want to understand, how did your world get shaped like that to believe, Kore, it must always be you and the husband? Did it come from where you come from? Did it come from the church? Did it come from, where did it transpire to believe that your world must always be you and a man next to you?
Remember, we interpret the Bible differently. You told that two must become one. So whatever he's saying to you, I get it, the men are the leaders. So as my leader, whatever he does, I feel it's right. This is the way we should take. So it's me and him being one. So whatever he's thinking should be done in the house, that's what I do. I remember sometime he advised me, why should you be schooling? I remember I did my degree hiddenly so. Until I went to graduate, I had to lie that, my brother had an accident. I need to go take care of him in Joburg, and it was a lie. So he only saw about the graduation later after the divorce. So that's how scared I was, because you can't do anything that your partner doesn't believe in. If he does not believe in education, you don't do it. So I feel that the kind of leadership we find ourselves in also contributes in us losing ourselves in identity, not knowing, God, there is Masu. She can still do 1, 2, 3 without this person. Because remember, I was born alone. But when you are there, when I was there, I even forgot. It's like we're even born together at the same time.
And you're honoring the words which says, Kore, the two must be one.
Yeah.
So it was like, for you, the picture of God and what he wants for your life is that two must become one. Hey, this is very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. And you're not the only one who sees it this way. It's all of us. It's a lot of us. But today we want to talk about issues of reframing yourself. To say, no, there was Kurula before this abusive marriage. And how can I still work out with what I have? Like I'll quote Morapedi a lot. I enjoyed what he was saying, Kore. Issue of, okay, as much as I do believe that in union of a woman and a man and their children, if it's not coming forth, what is my next important thing? And for him, the most important thing was his children, and nothing else matters. So now, perhaps we need to look around us and see what else is important for me, what is still available for me. Because sometimes there are no other things available for us, so we think. But there's a whole world that is available for us, and all we need to do is to remove ourselves from what we cannot control, what we can hold on to, and now concentrate on identifying ourselves with a person. So I want you to talk to the woman who's watching this, who's in your space, who was trained and told, Kore, if anything is happening in your home, don't tell anyone. What do you want to say to them? And to also the one who thinks, Kore, their wealth must be husband and wife, even when it hurts. What do you want to tell that girl?
To always love themselves. Whoever is watching out there, learn to love yourself. It's one of the things that I think we women owe ourselves. Because I remember some lady advising me, saying, no, you must think of your kids, God of the marriage, because you must think about your kids. I think it's wrong. I must think about Masu. You know, there must be Masu before I can love the next person. The Bible says you must love them as I love myself. So if now I can't love myself, how do I happen to love the next person? So I feel that every woman or every man must put themselves first, love themselves, work out on me, building myself up. Hence, I've told myself that I want to study like I'm crazy. If I can go beyond PhD, I'll do that, because I was denied that. And it's something that I should have completed, Kale, but because now you are honoring the next person more than yourself, you don't do it. So I feel if each and every woman would just, loosen up, do whatever it takes for you to be that person. So when that next person comes to Masu, must already find Masu being something without them, than me expecting them to build me to be something. The world now is a bit broad. There's a lot of things. Women can be into business. They can do whatever they want to do. It's not like we are bound to be stupid like I was. Yeah, so I feel like we should just, the first step is me loving myself before I can go to the next person or do the next thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. We'll still have questions for you.
Okay.
But in the meantime, we'll have Apostle Lofty coming while we continue. So I've learned a lot. Thank you so much. In the meantime, you can be that side. So I'm learning a lot about issues of loving yourself. And don't deny yourself the beautiful things that you always aspired to have. There was a Masu before the marriage came. There was a Kurula. I think, look, because we have an audience, just tell the person next to you that you were there before you got that thing you identify with. Yeah. Thank you so much. Today, right now, wow, this beautiful woman. Gosh, still sparkle. Yes. So we are with Apostle Lofty. She's an apostle, meaning she has a church. Petite as she is, she has a church of her own, guys, And she's also an attorney. She's one of the people who's well known in Phalaborwa, well known for her intelligence. One thing I always remember about you is how intelligent you were. She was in the VBS, the one that Sesi Trusha is now facilitating. We were Sunday school kids. We were younger, of course. We were in the grade whatever, and she was in the other whatever. She would know scriptures. So it's like when she arrives, we'll know that, oh, guys, there goes the hero. And she'll be quoting and quoting and quoting, and we'll all be watching in awe, and like, wow, she's intelligent. So I love your intelligence. You still are very intelligent. I admire that about you, and I know that in bringing you here, we'll be able to uncover a lot of things that needs to be uncovered.
You are so kind. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Apostle Lofty, you've heard. First of all, I want to talk to you as a pastor before I talk to you as an attorney, because you carry both the two offices. And I'm saying this because Masu raised a point whereby she says that she used to say, God says the two must be one. So she was fighting to honor God. I want us to talk about the whole part of honoring God against the things that hurts or in the things that hurts, or being bled. I call it being bled. You might not call it being that. Like being bled by people who manipulate scriptures, or you yourself manipulating yourself into what is not true and losing identity. What do you have to say about that?
I'll start by saying there is an innate thing that God placed in a human being when he created a person.
Okay.
So the desire for love is innate. That's why even when you have been through a lot and you have been frustrated, you desire to have that awakening. The Bible says a lot of beautiful things about love. It says even many waters cannot quench love.
Okay.
So it's profound. It even says there are amazing things, 4 amazing things in the world. The way of an eagle in the sky, the way of the sheep in the waters, and the way of a man with a woman. So love is a very powerful force. It awakens an individual. So before we can talk about many things, we must also respond to the fact that you yourself have this desire. And Pella, the Lord already said it is not good for anyone to be alone.
Yeah.
So that statement was not just said in order to create a perspective. It's almost as if it is also in the way that you are configured. You desire a companion. Oh. You desire someone you can walk with. I always say to people, the desire for marriage or for a life partner is unlike the desire for a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz, which is something that you kind of grow into even as you are in the world. That one is within. It has been placed as the Lord put you together. And David says, when you needed me, in the privacy and in darkness, you know me. So that's another thing. And I guess we also hold the responsibility then, when we then understand our needs and also acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you need love. There's nothing wrong with that, because also the denial of it is also making us to be so desperate that when it comes along, you just want to take anything. So that's why you must acknowledge your desire for love, and also put standards in place in what you also want. And I also do agree that there are also preachings, also interpretations, also perspectives that I held within the church concerning what marriage is and what oneness would actually look like. And I remember something that one of the celebrities said, maybe I can even quote him, Trevor Noah, if you want to know the difficulty of anything, you must ask a woman, especially when it comes to social standing, political effect. Ask a woman, because they're always down there in the chain. It affects the leaders, it affects the men, then it affects the woman. She's always she's the one who's feeling the heaviness of things, So that's another thing, and I guess that's why the rights of women are very, very important, And what we actually see is that people also, when they interpret things, they also use tradition, culture, their own perspective, and also oneness means measuring or merging with the vision of the husband. So you come here, if you had a desire to study, I've even seen people who push it to the husband and push him to be the one that actually studies and achieves, because you are not told that you can actually have your own vision, your own perspective, your own journey. So I can relate with that. It is not to say it is far-fetched, it is not true. Definitely, I have experienced it even as a minister, where you also encounter individuals that have also suffered the same thing, and they were taught the same thing, and but we still have to look into it to say, but was it right?
I love what you're saying. What I got, first of all, when you're talking about the configuration, that if we can just accept that there's something inside of us that just wants to love, for me, it answers Masu. You said that I was stupid. You were not stupid. You were loving. It's like
yeah.
we must refrain from seeing ourselves as stupid when we're doing what is right. And unfortunately, that thing that is right not being honored by the next person. So we cannot go on saying, hey, when I was Stella, you know, you could have done the same thing for somebody who is sane. And when you do it, it prospers so much. Like the same commitment that you had, the same honoring that you had, the same listening. If it was held by a right person, it could have made you flourish. And there are other people who have done the same thing and it worked for them. So when it didn't work for you, you should not see yourself as the problem, especially when you've seen it, Kurawa, no, I did this part, but it was just unfortunate because somebody was using it against me. We are configured to love, and that is why we somehow stay in these things, because we are responding to what we're feeling inside of us. So thank you so much for having mentioned that. Because the configuration, we must accept it, but somehow raise standards so that we can match the configuration with what will not hurt us. That's what you're saying. I don't want to say what you're not saying.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yes, it is true. It's just that at times when we say raise the standard, it almost looks like then if you got caught up in a bad situation, then it's your fault. Your standards were not okay. You know what I mean? But that is not the truth, because even our partners, we discover them in different dimensions, even as we grow in our journey, While you are meeting someone at Spare for dinner, honestly, you don't know the guy when he's angry. You know what I mean? So it's a different dimension. So the person you chose is the one you saw, and you use the best of your wisdom, the best of your understanding, everything that was available at the time at your disposal, to choose the best person that you thought you were choosing.
Thank you for saying that. That's very important. I hope you guys got what she said. Issues of what you got at that time is what was there, so you realize there's Brenda Fast. I always like to say Brenda's song, Umuntu uyachanger, ngeke umconfirme. It's like, today you were nice, but something happened to you now and along the way as the person you are married to, being a woman or male. And then they can begin to change, I like telling people, I like writing statuses and fire what I want to fire. I always say, guys, even God wrote, I think twice, he said, I regret why did I choose Saul. I regret why did I make man. So if the whole God in all his wisdom and understanding, he will make a mistake until he says, I regret. Who are you? A mere person with limited information not to regret. So it's okay for you to wake up one day realizing I'm being beaten, to say, when am I regret? Why did I choose this one? Yeah, because you are less than God, but God also experienced the same thing that you as a lesser person experienced. So we must give ourselves some sympathy, or what is it? Empathy. We must be sorry and understand so that's very important. But then now I want us to talk about reclaiming your rights. Here's a person they're with, because it's not everybody who has to now leave. I think if we all live down a problem. Is there a way that somebody who chooses to stay, in such, can manage legally to stay in that, with that same beast, and getting their rights protected? Somebody's laughing there to say, hey, but there are people who choose to stay, for their own reasons. It was Benevolence who told me this other time, Akurola, when you say to somebody, Kore, leave the bad marriage if they're abusing you, somebody is leaving a bad marriage to go to a more traumatic home experience. She said, Kurola, not if I leave, I'm going to a air-conditioned room that my dad built for me, but somebody was equally abused by their own father, and they are unemployed. Maybe the father raped them when they were young, and then when you just come and all you say, hey, leave. You don't know where they're living to. We're not living to the same places. So there are other people who may feel, I'm choosing between bad and bad, but the other bad is more it's more bad. I can rather stay in this bed. So what can they do when they're staying in that bed to be able to protect their rights, to be able to go to school like Masu wanted to further his studies without further abuse?
I hear you. I also feel like every individual should be extended respect in terms of what and how they choose to live their lives. And with this, I mean, if someone wants to work on it, and they still feel like they have the strength for it, and they still feel like they have capacity to wait, we should allow the same grace. At times when I look at the vows themselves, when it says for better, for worse, right? You can't determine my worse.
Yeah.
Right? I am to get to a place where I determine that this is I cannot anymore, and then I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. There are moments where we must extend support and grace, under the circumstances, even though we also do not want to encourage criminal behavior. Where someone is now being raped, someone is now being assaulted, and we want to say, your worst is not my worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We still want you to do something about it, but I get what you mean when you say it's an individual's journey, and all of us, it's almost as if I can identify with our last speaker when she said, I was trying to kind of make sense of it, because sometimes we must give room for an individual to kind of catch up with what is happening.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes it's almost as if you are still holding on to the love bombing that actually happened. Your mind has not settled into understanding and crystallized into the reality that person that you met at Spare, it's changed. You are dealing with a new guy now. So we must give them room to also catch up. You know what I mean? And be very present, especially because abusers are also very strategic. One of the things they do is to kick everyone out so that they isolate the abuser. So if you are one who is very forceful in the go, move, you are most likely to be kicked out, by the abuser. So we also need to be strategic in being present, especially for our loved ones. Be very present, be very visible, because that presence in itself, minimizing, it's a protective layer. There is a reason why they want to take them away from everyone, so that they can be able to instill and go further in the abuse. So grace should be given. So it means, I agree with you, let us be present in the lives of our loved ones, and let also they protect themselves, in legal ways and in legal manners. May they please not encourage the criminality of things, that one, we cannot encourage it.
So meaning, if you know that this abuse is a criminal offense, take it to the police, or take it to the justice system. Even though Masu was talking on issues of the justice system couldn't help her, unfortunately. But I know that the public protector will help us in knowing how to be able to get our rights still from the Chapter 9 institutions and stuff like that. So it's very important for us to do seek our rights. So now I think we can get to Morapedi. I think he spoke a bit, but he said that he will allow us to be able to delve into it. Issues of a man seeking to stay with his kids. Because we need to remember, guys, that GBV is not abuse against women. I hate it when I see it on social media and they say, GBV, you're fighting with, it's not fight against women. GBV is a harmful act done to an individual because of their gender. So it could be me, who is now a GBV perpetrator to my partner, to a man. So men are not animals, and they're not these cruel beings ready to come and kick us, But it's two ways. So now, when I talk to Masu, I will address issues of women because she's a woman. But it doesn't mean it's happening to women only. It's happening to all of us. So we need to be careful with that. But then now, let's talk about now, as a woman, issues happened in your family. Maybe you're not even abused. It was just an issue, you call it irretrievable breakdown of marriage, which could be many other things happening there. And then the man wants to now claim his children, feeling good they'll be safe around him. And then comes Kurula as a woman who feels, no, I want to punish this guy with the children. How do you suggest women, men should handle that? So that to answer people who are in the state, Morapedi, where they want to take their children.
Let me also start with Masu.
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 Yeah.
Apologies, my dear. I heard dear is not a nice word. It's condescending. I'm of the other generation. My apologies. My apologies, Masu. Yes. Going back to her, right, and her experience with the justice system, I'm not sure the approach that she used, but with domestic violence, when you go, they give you a provisional order. You know, that's why it's a protection order. So it's supposed to stand immediately when you serve it to the individual. It's supposed to be valid, and everything is supposed to be in place. If they don't go back to court, it's made final, you know, as a court order. But I'm not sure her journey, I didn't get clarity on that, but I think we will get more clarity in order to understand what was happening there, to ensure that we also understand the issues and the justice system in that instance. And coming back to the gentleman, I must say it is important that we also put it out there that we are not against men. We are not angry against men, you know, almost as if we are bitter, we want them to die. You know, that's not where we are. We celebrate gentlemen that are taking responsibility and doing what they need to do, you know, for their children. And especially because he said something important, there is a need for a mother and a father. You know what I mean? There is a need. And more than anything, we also advocate for co-parenting. We advocate for co-parenting regardless of who gets the primary residence of the children. Because the concept of custody moves along this way. Once there is the irretrievable breakdown of the marriage, then the interest of the child becomes of paramount importance. So the court wants to look into the wellness of the children. So with every divorce, there is the family advocate who must now overlook and be a guardian of the children that are all going through divorce, and also having to also look into where they end up, where they are, where they stay, you know. So it is also a good opportunity for gentlemen to also express their interest and their desire to want to stay with the children when such processes also begin, and not assume that, you know what, just because just because she's female and she's the one who gave birth, then, you know what, she's the one who should actually have the children, because the courts are open, the courts are willing, you know, and the rights are also quite equal. What usually happens is that custody is given joint. The biggest issue is the primary residence, who stays with the kids. Even though there are instances where individuals are denied, you know, custody, you know, where there are circumstances, you know, that the courts are taking into consideration, you know. So it is important that the gentlemen also raise their hand to say, I would like to take primary residence. And I like what the gentleman said, to say it must not be for any other reason, but for the interest of the children. So do not take the children for the stepmom. I'm happy that he's saying he's a single father. You are hoping that she will be the one running around, you know, doing the work. You know, I'm so happy to hear that he's saying, I'm holding on, I'm the one doing it myself. So it shows commitment. It shows the fact that he did it, you know, for the children, not to spite anyone.
So what she mentioned is that, number one, let's take note, the courts is not looking into male or female. So they don't start there. They start in looking into the interest of the child.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could elaborate with that. What are some of the things which we could say are like the interest of the child? Maybe if we could elaborate on some few of those. But again, you mentioned, Kore, it's more of a joint custody. So Kowa issue, who will stay with them longer? So joint custody meaning you as a woman, you have an equal responsibility to see to it that the children go to school, the children are taken care of, as much as the father also has to do the same. So it's gone are those days where we now use the gender, social, cultural, whatever, to say, it doesn't work like that. All of us are supposed to join in to see to it that the children are fine. So it's unfair for any woman, if you are here and you are holding on to the kids and say, it shouldn't work like that. They equally have the right to be with the father and be with whoever that's supposed to take care of them. Sometimes it can even be grandparents, isn't it? Depending on what the law sees. But I wish we could maybe talk about what the interest of the child could entail. Kore loko hi ku leswi swi better for the child, hi va hi vulavula hi yini.
First of all, we kick finance out of it. It has
Okay.
nothing to do with money.
So a man should not panic and say, I don't have much money, so...
Yes, it has
oh.
nothing to do with money. That's why there are women who are unemployed, receiving maintenance from their partners, and while they are the primary caregivers. So it has nothing to do with money. So that is the first thing we need to determine. So the best interest is about the well-being of the child. They have rights, to live in an abusive-free environment. They have a right to education. They have a right. So those things are also given consideration. So you have to be of good temperaments. You must show that, also the fact that you are going to take good care of the children. Because at times there is also an assumption in terms of the continuity of where they used to stay, but it's not always the issue, And most of the time, I must also indicate that most gentlemen do not even raise their hands to say, I want the child.
Because they believe that our system is not structured like that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Some of them also don't want the routine of waking up and bathing the children and working hard for that. We must also face that reality that some individuals are not willing.
Yeah.
They are not like our first speaker. And we must also emphasize that you must be willing to do the work. Imagine a toddler who's now 2 years and they are screaming at night. If you are not the guy who's waking up to go and comfort the child. Like, honestly, now there is an irretrievable breakdown. You are raising your hand. Like, you are shocking this woman. She's also feeling like, my goodness, what is going to become of my child when the
Yeah.
child is waking up at 3? And this person has never, in the life of our 5 children, woken up at any point to help with anything. You get?
Yeah.
So there is also that dimension. So we commend the commitment to actually also do the work.
Wow.
That's very important.
That's very important. Thank you so much. But I just want to mention something in passing. That, as much as we're talking about Kore, a man maybe he has never woken up in the morning to take care of the child. These are the things that can't easily be proved in court. To say, it's like, how do you really, where's the proof in that? So sometimes it becomes important for us, tendencies, we have some form of records to prove it. If somebody's an abuser of alcohol, forever not there, I'm not sure how they can prove such things, but you need to work on those things, especially if you can see, this is where we are going with this person. If they are beating you up or fighting, have those kind of resources with you that can be able to stand in your defense, because otherwise, you'll be there knowing he won't be able to be there during the weekend, Mara. You can't prove it. Even women, nowadays, if you go to clubs, there are more women, in fact. More women, I think more women than men. Or am I wrong? They always bring them in buses. Okay, I've seen some, but like they're usually the club owners, they even bring women in taxis, beautiful slave queens, so that they can make the men buy alcohol. So there are those irresponsible types of people who will not even show up to be able to take care of the children. So even as a man, be in a way, have some ways to be able to show and prove, this is the kind of person I'm dealing with. And like Morapedi said, because sometimes it can be about money. Somebody wants to have the children with them so that there was no proof of me paying for food. Because if the child stays with me, it means that I will say, I'll buy grocery when I pay school fees. And in that, they're buying a little grocery that doesn't mean anything, and then they just want to indulge on what is coming. So we need to be careful of all those dynamics that exist. So thank you so much, Apostle. If you can say something that you want to say to somebody who's watching. So, talk to them as an apostle. Talk to them as a lawyer, as an attorney in their situations. Masu and Morapedi were just examples, but they're not the only ones. And I also really want us to go away from just thinking it's happening to a woman. It's happening to everyone. So what do you want to say to them?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I just went blank when you said that, What do you want to say, to someone? But I think what I can touch on maybe is identity. Yeah, let me touch that, touch on identity, which is something that is very, very important, which also helps a lot in your journey, even in choosing a partner, also in what you also tolerate, also in what you end up doing, because one of the things that we, personally, if I had to define issues of identity, I would have to speak on resonance. I would have to speak on authenticity and also issues of congruency. So it means you need to understand what is important to you, and what makes sense for you, what resonates with you. And I think from that place, you will be able to tell if, for instance, abuse does not start in the house when you are being slapped across the face. It starts with something that is being said that does not resonate with you from within. Something that is being done that makes you feel like something shifted from within me. There is a grieving, from this instance. So if you then work on your identity and you learn to understand resonance, so that even when you work with someone, you ensure that there is that state of resonance with this person. And also that we are also very authentic. You don't try to please, at all costs. Because sometimes our desire for love, it's also what makes us sacrifice anything. You overstretch yourself. I will do anything. I will cross the mountains. I will, learn also to get to understand who you are as an individual, authentically, honestly, frankly, or what is it? And also function from a state of congruence, where you are honest with yourself. If somebody has hurt you, do not try and, sometimes we even change the narrative because we love them, right? No, it's a misunderstanding. No, he didn't mean it. You make excuses for an individual who's not even making excuses for themselves. So it is very important, both male and female, that work on your identity, because from that place where you are anchored from within, it makes it easy for you to be able to not withstand things. And the family must not wait for you for 10 years to come to a place where you understand the worst is worse. Where you can tell this thing has broken me down within so much that I need to do something about it. I need to save something here. So, yeah, I think that's what I would want to say.
Wow, I'm taking this home, resonance. It must resonate with me. I'm gonna think about the Bluetooth device is connected successfully. If I feel that if the Bluetooth device is not connecting, no, something is wrong. And I think we struggle with that, Apostle of Tea, because most of us don't even know what we want. We are lost so much that you don't even know some words which were said, they're not making sense, So resonance. I think we must take that with us and keep it. Thank you so much, Apostle. You can just be preparing questions for them as they move. Says Benevolence, please come forward. Apostle, thank you so much. They're still going to ask questions and we move from there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Resonance. What is resonating with you? What is resonating with you, Sis Terry? Thank you so much. Sis Benevolence, how are you?
I'm well. Oh, my word. I don't even know what to say after such profound speakers. Like, I feel like Apostle should have just dropped mic and we would be done.
We all have something to share. I strongly believe, Corey, there's God in all of us. And if we open up our hearts and be humble enough, you will learn something from each and every person.
Yeah.
So we're different in eloquency and all these things, but in terms of wisdom and direction, you can get it from anyone. And you have helped me a lot, you know that. So this Benevolence is one person who's been running the Refined in Fire NPC. She called us before I was one of those who came. We end up crying, all of us, when we... She spoke some words. When she finished, I'm telling you, all of us were just crying because we could resonate with being in the dark space and needing to come into light. And I remember you shared something about Naomi. And I loved it. I wish you could touch on that. I'm sorry, I don't want to direct you, but that's what touched me that day when you explained that. And I could see myself, that's the thing, I saw myself in what you were saying about issues of coming from the dark space and needing some light. So let me start there. We are now trying to reframe our identity. You were lost, you were abused, you were called names. What do you do from the dark space?
When I spoke about Naomi, whenever I speak about her, when I talk about the book of Ruth, I always say that book could have easily been called the book of Naomi, because she was the woman that carried the story, but Ruth ends up being the hero of the story because she clung to someone who had the anointing for the story. You know, Naomi loses her identity and starts identifying herself through the situations that she had faced. She had, those that may not know, because I cannot assume that we are all Christians and we read the Bible. Naomi and her husband leave their native land to go to another one because there was a famine in the land. They take their two sons. The husband that gets there, he dies. The two sons have wives. The sons die, and she's left with the daughters-in-law, and then she wants to live back to her native land, and one of the daughters-in-law says, wherever you go I will go. And fast forward, the Ruth was the daughter-in-law that chose to go with Naomi back home. When Naomi gets there, people are happy to see, oh wow, our sister is back, our aunt is back, our this is back. And she's like, no, don't even call me that name. I am Mara, because God has dealt bitterly with me. So a lot of us end up identifying ourselves, Gore. I am, no, don't call me SS Bene, ni divorcee Bene, you know. Don't call me uh, Mama Suman man, because nilua wa ku lovela hi n'wana. You know, we end up identifying ourselves through these situations, and then now, because of this woman, and I always feel like, you know, when you have a certain anointing and the favor of God, it doesn't necessarily go away from you. It doesn't. It does. And Ruth, because she clung to that very anointing, it worked for her until she found a husband in Boaz. Now, when you read the genealogy of Jesus Christ, that's where it dates back, you know. And if Naomi had taken the time to look within herself to say, in this situation, what is it that I had to take away from it? What is it that, even if there's a saying that says a broken crayon can still color. You know, even in my brokenness, it means I still have what I came with. I am still that person. It doesn't mean if I've been a victim of gender-based violence, then I can no longer do the things that I am good at. I can no longer sing in the church, because some of us, you know, we do all of these things personally, taking it on a personal story. I I am not necessarily a victim of gender-based violence as such, but I had a marriage that ended, and I grew up in a church. Both my parents are pastors, so I'm a pastor's kid. So this pastor's kid, who not necessarily saying I've lived a perfect life, but have followed how a model PK's life should be, in that I went to school, I studied, I came back, I didn't have a child out of wedlock. 2019 April, I have a beautiful wedding. August 2020, I'm back at my parents' house, and everyone is looking high bow. So even these ones, even these so-called perfect ones, can fail even in such things, you know. But abuse, wherever it comes from, whether it's gender based, it comes from a husband, it comes from a partner, it comes from a wife, it comes from this, it has a tendency of isolating you. And when you are isolated, the mind starts speaking, having these deep conversations with you. You know, I will remind, who did you think you were? Did you think you were special than the other? Or you think, oh, okay, because I feel like my life has now stopped, everyone around me looks at me that way. So we stop even in our gifts. I've always been an interpreter at church. I hated it. I hated going to church from that point. At some point, I told my parents I'm not going to go to church. And thank goodness they allowed me my grieving process to say, if your grieving says now you can stop going to church, then I stopped for a while. But after a while, they were like, no, let's go. Let's go back. And getting to a point where I could get back to doing these things, it took a while because trauma had taken that away from me. And you know, I've always been that good. You put me Namapedi, tomorrow ke a bolela. You put me with Afrikaans people, more ek praat. You know, like I'm just that good, not only with just languages but the interpretation of it. But I didn't want to do that anymore because I saw myself on the stage. What have you got to say when I'm from this for a year? You know, so trauma has a tendency of doing that. Even the people around us have like can do that to us, and like just a whole lot of things that we go through tend to put us in a place where we start asking ourselves, who am I? Okay, am I now a divorcee single mom? What am I now? And having to navigate getting back to somewhere where you get to see a glimpse of wanting to redefine who you are is a journey that takes time, and yeah, it can get complicated
I
at
want to
times.
cry.
Don't cry.
You have a way of putting things. Wow.
Don't
A broken
cry.
crayon can still
Can still
color
color.
because inherently it is
It's
made for
still-
that. It
it's
has
made
that
for
gift to
that.
do that.
Yeah.
So no matter who you are, no matter the abuse you encountered,
Yeah.
you are not that abuse. You were broken. Abuse came to break you.
Yeah.
But actually you can still color. So we must be able to identify ourselves beyond the little
Beyond.
hiccups we come
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
Because those don't define us.
Yeah, they don't. And you know, also, when it comes to, because we can speak about identity, and everyone can go home and like, yeah, I want to find my identity. And then you like, where do I even begin? And for me, I feel like the greatest starting point is acknowledgement. Acknowledge that you are a broken crayon. Acknowledge it. Don't be strong about it. I always, you know, as Christian people, or you know, we like to, we are taught or are told to say, don't blame God, don't question God, don't do this. And I'm like, even Jesus himself went back to God and say, hey, why have you forsaken me? Send to ako baba. So it's important to acknowledge that pain, and allow yourself to grieve. You know, it's funny that now I can speak about allowing myself to grieve. When I went back home because I was pregnant and I wanted to give birth. I was not welcomed in my marital home. My in-laws rejected me from the onset. So I had to go back to my parents so that I could, it was my firstborn. I didn't know anything about raising a newborn child. And I've never really gravitated towards kids much. So I didn't know much. So I went back to my parents' home. And now I'm back. I'm a new mom, but I'm grieving a marriage that has ended due to a whole lot of things. But mainly because my ex got involved in some illegal stuff that I put my safety in jeopardy. And I was like, you know that mother, that hen chick protection. And I was like, there's no way. If your people now come and they find me with a child, no, it's fine. So I was like, you know what? And God, in His perfect plan, gave me this bubbly child. She is nothing like me. My daughter is nothing like me. She's the one that comes here and she starts dancing. I am very much introverted, and very bubbly, born like that. She was like the first baby that I saw smiling on the first day of being born. So I looked at her and I'm like, you know what? This child deserves the best of me, the best version of me. Let me put my pain on hold. Wabona we pain ne. Let me pack you here. Let's do this. Let's focus on her for some time, and then after a year, I'm gonna pick up my pain. And funny enough, I did that. I packed my pain, and after a year I went trying to pick it up, and then it didn't make sense. Girl. Yeah, it's the pain is there, but after a year, then you still mourn and cry, but it's no longer the same brokenness, I guess, because I found contentness and joy in other ways. So you first have to acknowledge that I'm wounded, and when you acknowledge it, if we don't know what you are sick of, even in hospital, the first thing that they do is to diagnose, so that they know if they are dealing with cancer, they know if they're dealing with flu, if they know they're dealing with diabetes or whatever. So if you do not acknowledge that you are wounded, for whatever reason, some don't acknowledge it because van batakuyin, some don't acknowledge it because they have children, but some don't, for whatever reason. But it's important for myself to acknowledge, God, I'm wounded and I'm in pain. Let me cry about it. Let me scream about it. If I have to break a glass about it, let me break a glass about it. But I must acknowledge that I'm wounded. And find yourself in places and spaces, and surround yourself with content that resonates with where you want to be. And the primary thing for me was that I want to be at a place where I feel healed. I want to laugh again, and that laughter, not the laughter yaku people are laughing and I'm joining, but I want that laughter that comes from within. That that one ushibulusa from inside,
Yeah.
because I wanted that. So that was my end goal. I wanted to be happy again. So I had to do things and consume content of people, even though when you're still hurting, and people are telling you, "Good, there's a God that heals." Ne? Sometimes it's hard to believe, or sometimes you can even look at your life and you're like, but Lord, what was wrong with any of the steps that I took for you to allow such pain to be mine to deal with, So but you consume it until you believe it.
Yeah.
The world, unfortunately, we are told every day that if you want to be rich, surround yourself with rich people. If you wanna, that's good, ne? And I resonate so much with it. But unfortunately, sometimes the other effect it can have is that it tells me who is wounded to isolate myself, because I don't wanna wound other people or anything. But that's a story for another day. But consuming content, listening to sermons, even though at that point I would listen to sermons just to criticize,
Yeah.
this person is saying this, but God did not do that for me.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
And God can heal you. Where? Like, God did this miracle for me. I'm like, he couldn't even save my marriage.
Yeah.
But eventually, with that, today you you get a headache for 7 hours, but tomorrow you're getting them you're getting the headache for 5 hours. Tomorrow it's 3 hours. Some people get their healing instantly, and some it's a journey. So you have to acknowledge, even my journey is not gonna be that 1 year korula. My journey is not gonna be that 1 year shman man. My journey gonna be that shman man, and so you have to acknowledge it and talk, guys. It's important to talk. You talk, even if it's the most random of things. Men often criticize us women for talking, but I feel like we talk as women, but we often talk about a lot of things that don't matter, and the things that do we keep to ourselves because siyimbokodo, and there's this thing I love. He meets the one that opened with prayer. She says, "I'm a soft girl," and God knows I'm a soft girl. She owns her softness, and so it's important to talk, because if I tell you, Gore, the person that I'm staying with, waniba man, mara, waniba, but the love that I'm getting from that person, it's the greatest of all, such things. And then you don't even realize, some people grew up being told kubiwa is a token of love. It shows, if nuna wa kuba, it shows ku wa ku rhandza. If anga kubi, swi vula ku he's allowing other people to look at you and not say anything. So it's important to talk so that people make you aware, no man, something is wrong, because some of these abuses are so silent. You have to make an appointment with, you bought the car, but it's never with you. You cannot drive it. But you are the one pouring the petrol. Mara loko ibuya etapaka yi empty. And you have to make the appointment. Hey, Papa, tomorrow I'm going to the clinic. Can I have the car? And it's like, for how long? And then you're like, maybe for just an hour. And you might not even realize that it is a form of abuse, and because we don't talk about these things, we don't know. And allow yourself to attend these things where the gurulas of this world are hosting the podcast recordings, so that you can hear other people's stories, because when you stay with yourself, you might think, this is my normal, and I'm the only one. Who am I going to say this and they believe me? But the moment I speak about it, I remember when you and I reconnected, we grew up together. We're just 1 year apart. We grew up together, but we only reconnected around, I think, 2-3 years ago, when you posted something and I inboxed you and I said, this liberated me to a certain extent, because this is what I had to go through. And you were like, yo, when I look at you, I would never think that you went through something like that. So, and because we always strive to never look like our problems. It's a thing of honor that we wear, that we must never look like our problems. But sometimes it's important that we actually open up to say, yeah, I have problems.
Wow. We must be authentic. I think for me, you're giving me, let us be authentic in ourselves. I mean, if you're a person who never goes through trouble, also there's just something queer about you. A normal human being must have moments of joy, moments of failure. And every time you're honest with yourself, you get help. I'm learning that so much. I always, and adopting that from church, where people are always clapping hands for you, and you live that. But now, I mean, I'll talk to Talent, and I'll tell him, Talent, I'm a dom in meds. I say it to him all the time. Like, I'm a dom, so that I can get help. Show me how to work out these things. I'll talk to my sister, and I'm like, yo, when coming to Love, I'm in a fumble. So I will tell her, where am I a fumble on, so that she can help me. I believe that amongst all of us here is diverse minds equipped with different things. There's some people, their book
Smart,
savvy.
yeah.
Yes, I'm one of those people who pass without sweating, you know. But I'm not as street smart as other people are. So you need to ask people. That's how you get away from abuse.
Yeah.
So I love it that you said that, and I think it's something that we have to practice, all of us, not to always put a picture of I've got it all
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
And you will see, it's so amazing when you do that, people embrace you.
Yeah,
The,
yeah,
the
they
first time I
do.
posted, I was talking about how I'm not fine, how this happened. But I was doing it for myself. I wanted to be liberated. Immediately I did that. I was a hero. And I'm like, what is happening here? They're inviting you to Joburg to come and do what? I have nothing
and-
to offer.
yeah.
No, come and tell us about that. But I could understand what they were trying to do is because many people are living in the same thing and they can't be able to say it. How then do you get help? I need to be
Yeah.
honest with myself. If you are abused, talk to some
Talk to
people.
someone,
If you
yeah.
are unsure, I like that part that you spoke about. I like to botch some scriptures usually and tell people about Pharaoh. Pharaoh was a slave. One who enslaved the Israelites. But the Israelites talk about him later to say, this guy was giving us free food. We ate food at no cost. I'm like, Pharaoh is lovely. He's busy
Yeah.
love bombing people, giving them free food, Mara. At the same time, he's enslaving them. And most of us live with pharaohs in our houses. Hence, we don't know how to decipher when we are being abused or not. Like I think Apostle Lofty mentioned it, you remember the good things that the person has done,
done,
and you
yeah.
get confused, why why am I seeing this? So it bless your mind. So it's very important for us to be able to see that. So in a minute, tell us what you want to say to somebody who is at home, who's staying in the dark, and they're afraid to get help.
Okay. When I'm a Christian, so I'll take it back to scripture. When Jesus speaks to Peter just before he was taken to be crucified, he has a last supper with his 12 disciples. And he says to Peter, to them, all of them, someone is going to betray me. And they ask him who, and he doesn't say, but he says it's going to come out of you. But when it comes to Peter, he says to him, you are going to deny me 3 times. But even though I know that you are going to deny me 3 times, I have prayed for you. I have prayed for you because this is the same Peter whom he said heaven has given him the secret that Jesus was the Messiah who had come to save the world. And he says, this knowledge you cannot get from men. You got it from heaven. So he understood that even amongst a group, there are people that have bigger things put in them that need other people to be saved. He says this to Peter, I have prayed for you so that even in you denying me, you may not falter. But once you come back, go and strengthen others. So whatever that we go through, we must get to a point where we understand that there might be shame that is associated with whatever that we have faced. Imagine the shame that befell Peter when he had the cock crow to the cock crow to say, Jesus told me that I'm gonna do this. It came with shame. It came with a sense of failure. I have failed this man that I have promised that I'm gonna walk with him to the end. So it might come like you feel like I have failed in my marriage. I have failed in my partnership. I have failed in this relationship with my mom, because gender-based violence can also come when a mother treats daughters differently to boys. You get to do this. It's also gender-based violence or abuse within that. So the shame that it comes with and the sense of failure that it comes with. But you must understand that the things that we go through, it's not just for ourselves, but it's for us to, when we have felt the shame, when we have felt like we were not good enough, when we have felt like we have failed the Jesus that we said we would be with him to the end, when we have done that when the cock crows, let us remember that he said he has prayed for us. And when he has prayed for us and we have not faltered, let us not go back, but go back to the brethren to strengthen them. So your testimony can strengthen the next person. If I speak that my husband is abusing me, it can be a crutch for the next person to say, my boss, in order for him to promote us, is making us sleep with him. It can be something else to say, our pastor is doing this to the worship team members, you know. So our story is not just for me. It's not just for me to hold on to and to look like a hero. I do not speak of my ills just to be seen as a hero, but I am doing it because I know Jesus himself has prayed for me, that in my things that I felt I was the lowest, I must just know that he had his hand on me. Now that he has given me enough strength to stand, I must go back and strengthen the others. To say we can still come back, get up again, be the mother that you know to be a single father who proudly stands and say, I'm a single father,
Yeah.
you know, and be that sister to say, even though I was raped, I am not going to identify myself as that. I'm not going to say I'm a victim, but I'm going to say I'm a survivor, and I'm going to hold other people by the hand to say, we can wake up and be badass. You know, we can wake up and do this again. That child in me who knew she could be this and this and this and that, she still lives and she's yearning, you know, for you to go back to her, you know. Just to digress a little bit, there's an influencer, Khumotso Ramano. She's also publicly going through a separation with her husband, and she wrote a letter to her kids, and she said, I loved what she said. She says, I didn't walk away from a home, but I walked back to self. You know, I felt that was so beautiful. So I feel like it's important that we acknowledge that our stories matter. Our stories have something meaningful. So when we have gone through all of that, let us go back and strengthen the others so that we can move forward.
That's the reason why I love you. Thank you so much. You can welcome the public protector. Thank you so much. Wow. You see why I love calling you. You must take her numbers. She will always heal your heart and make you a better person when you finish talking. Ceci, thank you so much. We appreciate the healing journey. Now I'm talking to the giant. The giants, I'm not going to bother you. Welcome here, Ceci J. Nkuna, our public protector. I have already said to you guys that you amaze me. I don't want to lie to you. You amaze me in how you have the heart for the community. When we send a message to you and telling you what we want to do in our community, after the following day, you just called back, you responded eagerly so, and I'm really touched by that. And like we're saying, we're talking about issues, Tokore, people don't get help in the public institutions. How does your office serve the people?
Thank you, Sesi Kurula, for this opportunity and having us as the public protector here. The public protector is the custodian of public administration, meaning that we investigate maladministration, undue delay, corruption, misuse of public fund, and also conduct of the public servants.
Wow.
Yes.
So you heard what they said, public administration, they check maladministration in particular. So right now who are here in Namahale, if you see those things happening in your municipalities, in your all these public institutions, don't keep quiet and say, oh, go and complain to them, to the same people who are doing the ill justice. You must rather contact public protector, and then they're able to help you. Do you have a lot of people so far coming to or writing to you guys?
Yes, we do. Remember, how do we do our work? We investigate through complaints. As you're saying that people must come to us. We investigate through a systemic conduct in a particular state organ.
Okay.
And then also we have own initiative where we will read a particular article in a newspaper to say there's no water at Phalaborwa, at Namahale in Phalaborwa, and it's been 2 years, for instance. But there was a project that was gazetted in the IDP of the municipality and it was funded, but nothing's happening. So we'll come and investigate what's going on, what is the challenge, why is not water reaching the people. However, there was funds allocated to that particular service delivery issue.
Wow. So we must not be afraid. NGOs, I think this one is for you a lot because you guys are going to be voices for the community. So you need to be able to not be wary, look for information, write it down, put it together for them. This is how much, this is what we know so far. There was a project here. Something is not happening, and then you write to the public protector so that they can be able to investigate. I love also the own initiative that you're also doing when you see in the articles and stuff like that.
Yes, another thing, with regard to GBV cases, we have reports that has shaken the departments in question, which were the Department of Justice, SAPS, and Social Development. We have good reports where a mother and a daughter was killed. It was a big story. It was in the media. So before she was killed, she used to report the matter Kodi police station. So they didn't take her serious. She even requested a court order, but it was not done until the ex-boyfriend killed her and the daughter. So the matter came to our attention and it was dealt with properly. Again, another matter, a girl was raped and her matter was postponed 20 times. She was raped when she was about 15, 16. But the matter was settled when she was 23 because of our intervention. What was happening? Her matter was postponed 20 times and they were living far away from the magistrate court. And it is this one of the poor families where they don't even money to travel. It's hard for them to have. What the public protector did, the matter was investigated. The perpetrators were jailed, and one of the recommendations was that the Department of Justice must reimburse them, compensate them for the traveling, and yes, and that was done. Yes.
Wow.
That's why today you can see. My learned colleague will attest to that. Now you can do a court order online. It's because of, it's one of the recommendation that assisted that made the Department of Justice to be accessible.
Oh, so now it can be done online?
Yes.
Wow. So yeah, we must, thank you for informing us. I think a lot of us don't know. And the whole reinvestment, it's like sometimes a lot of people, like you're saying, that they're just too far from the magistrate or from the police, so it's a challenge for them to be able to follow up on their matter. I think what you guys are doing is very important. Like I said, now for me, you showing up here in Namahale all the way, it should make people be aware of how intentional you are about assisting in the justice system. And I wouldn't even have wanted to ask you a lot of questions. For me, it's like the office came, so you know that they will come for you. And if you do send them a complaint explaining, they will attend to it. So let us be confident right now as a community. We shouldn't be afraid to complain on certain issues because some people will not take us serious. Everyone is accountable to everyone. You just have to know who's accountable to who, and don't go and report the case to the very same person who is now challenging you. So what do you want to say to somebody who's sitting at home now, who's still scared?
No, still on that point.
Okay.
The public must know that the services of the public protector is for free.
Oh, yes.
Remember, we are a statutory body.
Yes,
We have been established according to an act. That's why an act of parliament. That's why we report directly to the National Assembly. That's why the public protector is hired by the National Assembly and the president. So everybody must feel free to come and report, and your matters are confidential until you gave us permission to talk about it, but at the stage where a report has been issued.
Wow.
Yes, and then we don't investigate private matters.
Yeah.
If I'm owing you money or if I'm divorcing, we won't.
yeah.
Yes, we won't intervene. Those are private matters, unless you are in a divorce case and your lawyers are the legal aid lawyers, but the matter is still running, and you are not happy about the conduct of your representative, you can report that to us. As long as the magistrate or the judge hasn't take a final decision, you can still report that to us. Remember, we don't review court judgment.
Yes,
The
yes,
law
of
says
course.
no one is
one,
above
yeah,
the law.
yeah.
So that's what's happening. And we don't represent people go to court. Tina, we just mediate, arbitrate, and negotiate, if I may say it blindly.
Wow.
Yes.
Very important. I had forgotten to mention that it's free, so don't be worried about money. And I think what's important is to remember it is not for private matters, but it's always in relation to the public administration in particular. So I don't know, anything you want to say to people sitting at home? Because I know people are panicking. I used to panic when I had to go and do a protection order. And I don't even
Yes.
know why. But I was all, and I remember being approached by the police officer. I think he's one of those who made me afraid. Where he said, why are you complaining? Like he just made the whole thing to look like it's nothing. And to me, it was a big deal.
Before I say something in relation with that, I would also like to say we are there on social media. We are everywhere. People can complain by calling us.
Okay.
People can complain by just going to our website. There's the whole information. We have social media handles like Facebook and Twitter. We are there. Instagram, we are there. So it is easy to reach us. What I would like to say, Sesikurula, to people, you know, we need to shift from that mindset, yakore. We teach our young boys to be dominant, to dominate. We don't teach them love. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
You'll say a girl child hlantswa swibs. Instead of teaching both of them
Yeah.
to say aba hlantswa swibs.
Accountability.
Accountability, yes. Now you have two children, a boy and a girl. Loko mi abashavela twice, you buy a gun for the boy, you buy mpopi for the girl, which means you say when your well belongs in raising children, when your well belongs in twa. You see, we are grooming them. So we need to change our mindset from the beginning. From the moment you deliver that boy, tell him that you are in this world to be a social being, and you are not important. No, the human rights says your rights start where mine ends. You don't have to risk because there will be friction.
Wow. I love what she just said. I think you just highlighted on the issue of identity. Because like we create some identity for the children unaware when you buy them a toy gun. You're trying to say when you are killing people, this is your role. And even with a girl child, somehow we are somehow contributing to her identifying herself in a certain way. So we must become intentional people in how we help the children in identifying who they are.
The reason we have a lot of divorces today, I'm married, I'm a working woman, my husband is working, but he's not contributing anything except to sit on a couch and read newspaper and maybe to reprimand on something, but not being serious. He cannot say, my love, let me today wash the dishes, or let me go out with the children, go parking. You are the one as a woman, you are always there, you are cooking, you are washing, you are raising children. Bona ke go dula ba lebelle TV, tshware remote and all those. So we need to change from that thing.
We must re-identify ourselves. Eish, that is very important. Accountability for everybody. Big ups to the parents who do that, who teaches the boy child accountability as much as they teach the girl child the same. Thank you so much. What you've just said is quite enlightening. And I love the fact that because we're recording, somebody else will be able to see this. I think we've run out of time and space, yeah, because we work with space in terms of the camera and stuff like that. But I appreciate everybody who is here. Like we said, today's talk was more on getting nuggets from each and every person. We didn't get a full buffet because we're just touching. But I do know that one day we'll have those where it's just us and Mang. But I know that everybody has a question. We will cut because of the time, ne? And then we still have questions asking each other. Like I said, we have NPOs, NGOs who want to take the information to the people. They need to know. And some of us who are here, sometimes the story is personal. They can share with us. And when we have our next session, we will be able to talk about this. Like we said, it's a year's program. We're here. We're not going anywhere. So it's a whole year with different people coming to talk, coming to assist each other. So we appreciate you so much for your efforts in coming here, for liberating Namakhale. You've done something great, you just don't know it. You're liberating us as a community to have faith in the institutions, the Chapter 9 institutions that exist, where they're not just sitting somewhere. You know, Namakhale, sometimes things looks very far from you. But when you come, as an institution, what you are saying to us, you go, "Rawa, nowhere is too far." So I know that they'll be asking you questions as we are done. Food is also ready, so yeah. But we'll be asking questions while we prepare for the food. They'll come to you. I think that's how we'll do it. So thank you so much, ma'am. We appreciate you so much. Thank you very much. We've come to the end because the camera will shut down anytime. But thank you. We're going to have questions outside this. Other questions will be asked in the YouTube channel. So people will ask, we'll answer them later. Thank you. You can cut me off. I want to breathe. Thank you.